Hi everyone, how are you? I have a cast on my hand, so I'm not going to be very good at getting the articles pulled up that I want to. So this will be more podcast style than ever. Um, I want to talk to you about something that happened here in Minnesota that's really sad and on my mind. I'm going to pop over here. So the way this is coming out is it's saying that it says the Somali community mourns the loss of 5 women in a tragic car crash on Lake Street. And as I'm digging further, there's so much more. This isn't a tragic crash. This is somebody who should have never been on the road. And I'll tell you why, because they don't call me backstory Tabby for nothing. Wait till you find out. This is so ridiculous. The leaders of the Somali community say that these young women were just everything. They did all of the volunteer work at the mosque. They were so involved in their community. They were the youth. They were the ones that had the energy, and they were doing everything right. And they're just absolutely beautiful. As you can see, they were getting the final touches on, they were getting, I don't know if they do something similar to henna, because it said they were getting their tattoos for their friend's wedding. So I'm assuming it's something similar to henna that I've seen before. But I don't think that it's a permanent tattoo, but let me see here. So it says here, so that's 2 of them. Now, I'm going to apologize beforehand because I'm probably not going to pronounce the girls' names right. I apologize. It's my intention to show my sadness, and I do not mean any disrespect by not being able to pronounce the names right. If I do make a mistake, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that the victims' names are named right at the beginning of this story, because this story is going to turn into something else rather quickly, and you'll see why. The victims were 20-year-old Sarah Jasad, 20-year-old Salma Ab- Abdikadar, 19-year-old Sagal Herzi, 19-year-old Siham Adam, and 17-year-old Sabrian Ali. Now it says here they were all killed after a driver, suspected of being impaired, ran a red light and crashed into their car near Interstate 35 and Lake Street. Well, that's the understatement of the century here as we get going. So it says here the incident occurred just after 10 o'clock p.m. on Friday night. A state trooper on I-35 spotted a car speeding northbound towards the Lake Street Transit Center. Okay, that's a very, very busy and complicated area down by the Transit Center and Lake Street as it is. The way that it goes is that the state trooper did not even turn on its lights. It turned in the motion of the car, and the car fled, and it said that the car must have been going about 100 miles an hour, and it T-boned the car that the 5 girls were in the girls were in an SUV. They were in a solid SUV. It's not like they were in a little car, crammed in together. They were in a solid SUV, hit T-bone style, to the effect that the state patrolman was right there. When they walked up, all they could do is put a blanket over. There was no chance of survival for any of those 5 young girls because of how fast this, and you'll find out who this is, hit them. And he hit them and then continued onward. He did not stop. So he was not being pursued. So this is going to come out as being pursued and blah, blah, blah. Nope, nothing. There were no lights yet. It's just the state patrolman turned around, and then this one fled, and you'll find out why. So as it goes on to say, the trooper started to follow the car but did not activate their lights or sirens. That's when the adult male driver veered off the highway and allegedly ran a red light before crashing into the car carrying the 5 young women. The driver tried to flee the scene, but with the help of witnesses, Minneapolis police were able to locate and arrest him. So he did flee, but they were able to catch him. Now I'm going to not say this right again, and I'm sorry. As it says, leaders at Dar al Farouk Islamic Center in Bloomington told Fox 9 that the women were integral members of their faith community, frequently volunteering and taking care of the mosque. Over the weekend, the center will open its doors to members to provide a space to grieve and attempt to come to terms with this sudden loss. So, we go down here. Nothing more. In there, and then we come up here, and this is the video. So they're trying to find out how the crash video was leaked. I don't think that I can show this without getting a copyright strike. So if you want to look it up, it is on the Fox 9 news page here. And so it's going to say MPD investigating video leak of the deadly crash. I think that there's some sensitivity because the crash was so violent. The families are stunned, as it says. Now, it's saying that elements of law enforcement released traffic camera footage of the moment that the two cars collided. And it says this despite senior law enforcement members giving me direct assurance that this video would not be released until after the families had a chance to view it. So that's another thing that, is kind of going on that is sensitive. Now, here's what's really going on. Because there's a lot of efforts to not show what happened here. Because it said, so they're focusing on, how did this get out? Well, the driver should have never been on the road. The driver is the son of a former DFL lawmaker here in Minnesota. The lawmaker's name is former Representative John Thompson. And he was problematic, and he had a rather famous viral video that came out where he accused state patrollers of pulling him over for racial profiling, which it wasn't. He had many felony domestic violence counts against him, and he, as a lawmaker, came onto our televisions and apologized for falsely claiming that he was racially profiled. Now, his son is the driver who killed these 5 Somali women. Now, his son had went out to California for a time. And while he was in California, he got into a terrible, terrible high-speed chase with the California, Ventura police. He was in an Impala, and it was in Montecito on September 4th, 2018. And it said that officers were headed back to Ventura after taking a suspect to Santa Barbara County Jail. And the officers tried to pull over the Impala, but Thompson did not stop, so a pursuit began. Okay? So the pursuit was so terrible because there was a wreck that ensued that left a 58-year-old woman in a coma due to a brain injury. In Thompson's car, he had 17 pounds of marijuana and more than $20,000 of cash. He was accused of recklessly driving a Chevrolet Impala that officers pursued into Butterfly Beach, where the vehicle hit a woman, according to a news release from the Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office. So he previously pled guilty to evading an officer causing injury, leaving the scene of an accident, causing permanent injury, and conspiracy to possess marijuana for sale. Then he also admitted to a special allegation that he personally inflicted the injury that led to the 58-year-old woman's comatose condition due to brain injury. He should have never been on the road. He should have never been on the road again. Why was he on the road? Why? Ugh. Another article states that he has a long history of driving-related offenses, including multiple convictions for driving with a revoked or suspended license, according to state, court, and Department of Public Safety records. His dad lost his seat for the domestic violence. It says members of the Minnesota House of Democratic Farmer Labor Caucus voted to expel Thompson from the caucus on September 14, 2021, following allegations of abuse. Why? Why? Why was he back on the road? Why are these people on the road? We talk a lot about this on our channel as we have somebody who we're watching who actively drives drunk and under the influence and laughs about it, even though she has a long history of DUIs. The local sheriff doesn't care because he says he doesn't believe things that go on the internet. So when clips are sent of this person drinking and driving and bragging about going to go and buy drugs from underneath a traffic cone, the sheriff just sits back and says, I don't believe things on the internet. Don't know why you do. Even though that woman has a history of headbutting lieutenants and scratching and biting EMTs. Why are they letting these people on the road? Well, we're coming to an agreement, I guess, in our society where we don't want to pay to be stalked by policemen anymore on the road for our tags being 12 hours overdue. Do you remember that? I remember that. I remember once, I was literally going to wait till payday to get my tabs paid. And I see this motorcycle cop just turn around, flip a U-turn, and there, he got me. I mean, it was the first day my tabs, because, the tabs come due, obviously, the first of the day of the last month. So obviously they would be looking. And so then, it's like here I was, struggling to put food on the table, working my minimum wage job, trying to wait to get paid, and my tax dollars are going to pay that man who just gave me another fine on top of that. It's just a mess, and so we had so much micromanaging that it was just enough, and it was too much pressure for our society, and it's led to so many different things. So as we're going away from this, you'd think that they would be able to look at the bigger problems and take people like this off the street before they cause some horrific freaking crash. This crash, I can't imagine how to just put a sheet over and know that there was no chance for five young women in the height of their lives. They were excited for their friend's wedding. There was going to be a big wedding this weekend. It was supposed to be a fun, beautiful celebration. Instead, they're now planning 5 funerals. Makes no sense. We have to do better. We have to keep our streets safer. And it says that, okay, so there's a lot of finger pointing. So like I say, right here in Minnesota, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. Because it says the alleged impaired driver was arrested, but has not been officially named because he's not been formally charged. And it says the chief also said a city official, not member of the Minnesota Police Department, shared the name of the person arrested in the fatal crash with the media, which he also called concerning. So why is that? Is it because they don't want it to be known that he was back on the street after he had caused this terrible crash in California while he was drug dealing, and now he just caused the loss of life of 5. Why are we scrambling around trying to find out who let the truth out rather than trying to find out how to make our roads safer and keep people who are offending? This guy had his driver's license suspended how many times? It's probably going to come out he didn't have a license as it was. He was impaired. So, driving under the influence yet again. So that's what's going on over here. That's what's got me sad today. Sorry that I can't bring the pictures up as I should, but I just kind of wanted you guys to know that that's what's going on and watch for that to come out this week, because there's going to be a lot of conversations, and I am so sorry to the Somali community for the great loss, and I'm sorry that our government is not doing a better job of keeping our streets safe from repeat offenders. Thank you for listening. I'll talk to you again soon.